Hello, you gorgeous badass you, and welcome to your very first training inside of the Content Club. We are going over the Reels Challenge in September and giving you your week one trainings to get off to a hot freaking start inside of this membership. I cannot wait to get started. But before we do, I just want to let you know a couple things. This is probably going to be a long training. And obviously you'll see how long it is. By the time we wrap up, you'll have that timestamp to know. But I just want to invite you to get cozy, grab your notepad to take notes as we go. Or if you happen to be watching or listening to this on the go, on a walk, while you're doing things, that's great. I welcome that, but you will want to probably stop and listen and take notes and listen to this thing a second time to actually soak in all of the juice and everything that we are going over in this action-packed first training. So just to let you guys know, I have been doing so much freaking research. I have been doing so much studying, so much planning. I've had so many incredible ideas coming through and a lot of different, downloads as far as where I wanted to take this Reels challenge in September. What I ultimately decided on was going to be the most beneficial, highest leverage training challenge that I could lead you guys through was going to be helping you implement a content system that allows you to batch create a month's worth of content. So that is the essence of the September Reels challenge. So this is going to look a lot different from the August Stories challenge, where you had daily prompts and it was all in the moment, day of, just grab your phone, think about what you wanted to say related to the prompt, go ahead and film it and publish it. Reels work a lot different, right? This is a completely different style of content, and they have a completely different purpose as far as what Instagram makes available to us as business owners in order to run our business, generate leads, grow our business on the platform. And Reels really are that growth strategy that's available to you. Carousels also get a little bit of a wider reach and a little bit more traction, but Reels in particular are short form video is the type of content that is just like blowing up, right? And has been blowing up since TikTok got on the scene and started driving interest-based algorithms, which means that the content that we see is more based on our interests rather than the people that we follow, which is such an amazing opportunity for us as personal brands, as business owners, to get our content to the people who are looking for it, right? And it means that we get to be a lot more intentional, a lot more strategic about this kind of content creation, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get into the document here in a moment, but I just wanted to give you that background around my intention for you in this next month inside of this challenge. I really want you to have this skill, this system set up for you in your business. And one thing that I really believe, one thing that I stand by in the work that I do with all of my clients is that my way might not be your way. So I'm not here to come and show you how I create reels and tell you this is the way that you need to do your reels. I'm here to help you find your own way. So in this month, we're going to be exploring different kinds of reels, different formats, different styles of filming, different styles of posting. I'm going to be teaching you how to come up with your own viral hooks. I don't want to just give you a list of like plug and play viral hooks. I want to teach you how to catch your fish. The proverbial saying, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. So that is what I want to do for you inside of this content club, starting with reels. And what we see here is your current landing page for the Content Club. We have the September Reels Challenge page, which I will open up in a moment to dive into our week 1 training. You have a content calendar, which I'm going to show you exactly how to start using this today. And what this will allow you to do is to see all of your content for the month in a calendar view as we're going through and we're planning and we're filming and we're editing and we're publishing. We'll be checking things off the list. Your content matrix is what I'm going to teach you how to build out here today within the week 1 training. And I'm gonna do my best to show you how to use each of these tools as well and kind of demonstrate what this is going to look like as we go. So like I said, we have a lot to cover. If you're one of those people who likes to speed things up and go through videos a little bit faster, adjust the speed setting on this video so you can slam through it. I tend to move slowly, step by step, and speak a little bit slower too when I'm teaching, just because I want things to land and I don't want to rush. Like I said, I did so much research. I had so many ideas for what I wanted to share with you guys. This is me. This is my style. I just want to over deliver like crazy. So I actually pared it all down as much as possible to get at what I felt was the true essence of what you needed to know in order to find your authentic voice, in order to dial in your messaging, in order to get clear on your brand pillars before we even start talking about content, because this is what is gonna make your reels effective, right? Something that feels like you, feels authentic, feels inspired, and is strategic, speaking to what your audience needs to hear, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't I go ahead and open up this page and we can dive on in. So like I said, this is not going to be here's a prompt for every single day kind of challenge. This is going to be a system that we learn week by week, that once you've learned this system, and there's going to be some things that you only really need to set up once. So once it's set up within the course of this month, you're going to be ready to go and you're going to be ready to use this system again and again and again. And then there's going to be other pieces of it, like the filming, like the editing, like the publishing, that you'll get to come back and move through again in other months. But what we are aiming for inside of this challenge is to set you up for a month of reels that go out on autopilot so that you can oh no. All right, well, you guys know this is live. You're getting me. Whew, unedited, raw in the moment. Whew, hopefully I'm not going to choke on my own spit again and we can make it through this. Oh, where was I? Oh, so we're going to get into the stages of batching reels, right? And once you learn the system, it's something that's going to serve you in the months to come throughout your business as a whole. And really what this is all about is learning how to test your marketing. So again, I'm gonna harp on this probably continually, but for those of you recovering perfectionists, I am one of you. I don't want you to come into this challenge with the mindset of like, I have to do this perfect 110% the first time, or else it's not worth doing. I want you to do this at like 60% maximum. I want you to do this rough, dirty, like just get it done. Don't need it to be complete. Don't need it to be perfect. And just move through the process. That is going to be the most important thing. Don't get hung up on perfectionism, because that is what is going to stop you in your tracks and prevent you from making progress. So just allow it to be messy. Allow yourself to move through this entire challenge at 50, 60% of what your true potential and capacity is, because this is the approach that I want you to bring, honestly, to your marketing efforts, is that everything that you put out there is a test. It's not a finished product. It's not a final perfect piece of content. Oh my gosh, this is the most perfect piece of content I've ever created. It's like, that's not how it works, because you don't actually know what is a good piece of content until it's been tested by the marketplace. And the point of putting out a batch of content is so that you can get a lot more data, right? Because it's going to depend. How does your audience respond? Like, does it reach a wider audience? What percentage of your viewers are followers versus non-followers? Is it getting engagement? Is it getting saves? Is it getting shares? So when you put out a batch of content, this allows you to kind of sit back and just collect the data and see, how are these different pieces of content performing? Oh, that one did really well. That one didn't do so good. What about that one that did really well allowed it to do well? What was it about the hook? What was it about the topic? What was it about the way that it was filmed? And this process of testing and optimizing is going to allow you to hone in on your most epic content format. This is going to allow you to understand the topics that your audience is most curious about and most ready to engage with, so that by the time you've published a month of content every single day, ideally, you're going to have 3, 4, maybe 5 pieces of content that outperformed the rest by a wide margin. And then you'll know, these are the topics. This is the kind of hooks. This is the format of filming and editing that I get to double down on. Okay. And then the next month, you are going to double down on those topics, on those formats, on that style of content. And likely those are going to continue to do well for you. So getting into this perfectionist mindset while you're creating new content for the first time does not serve you. You just need to know, what does my audience want to hear about from me? What style, what format of content of filming? By that, I mean, like, is it talking reels? Is it B-roll films with voiceovers? Is it B-roll films with trending audio? Is it, there's so many different kinds of formats. Those are going to be the main 3 that we play with. But anyways, honing in on your format is really one of the big takeaways that I want you to walk away from this challenge with. So with that said, with your perfectionist hat off and to the side, let's get into it. Like I said, there is a lot to cover. In week 1, we've got part 1, your brand identity, part 2, your niche and messaging, your brand pillars, creating a content matrix, researching hooks and formats, and then the summary. So I have a lot packed into here. And like I was alluding to earlier, before you can create high-performing reels at scale, what you really need is clarity on 2 things. So what you stand for. What is your brand all about? What is your voice? What are your values? What is your vision? And then you need to understand what your people need to hear. So what are the tangible outcomes that they're really looking for? How can you incorporate that into your brand positioning and into your messaging? What are the hooks that stalk the scroll? What kind of content are your customers already engaging with and focusing on? This is what we're going to cover in the research portion, which is really powerful. So this week, we're building the foundation for your content system that is going to feel authentic. It's going to be very strategic and ultimately make you a binge-worthy brand and personal, like, creator, binge-worthy personal brand and creator who's prolific in your industry. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, brand identity. This is where the authentic expression of you is going to come in through your vision, values, and voice. Okay, so I want your content to feel like you. I don't want it to feel like you're just trying on my style of content or you're trying on whatever's working right now in the algorithm. So take this part seriously. We're going to do a little bit of writing. You can duplicate, obviously, this page and add your notes in here. You can use notebooks, notepads, whatever works for you, but just take some time to think about this and write this down. So what is your vision? Like, what change do you want to see in the world? What future are you helping your people step into? Okay. And then values. Values are so key. So, what are your values that you live by, no matter what? What do you stand for? What are some beliefs or hot takes that would make someone unfollow you? I really want you to challenge yourself to align with a polarizing point of view and own it. Likely you have viewpoints that are already polarizing, but it's so unnatural for us as tribe-oriented creatures to say anything, to really hold any thoughts that are actually going to make us less likely to belong in society, in the group at large. But allow yourself to stand for something that would repel people who are not your people. Allow yourself to risk not belonging by actually taking a stand and being your true self in order to belong as who you truly are. Okay. And what we notice is that the brands who take the most extreme standpoint, the brands who know exactly who they are and don't ever apologize for it, these brands get traction. These brands perform well because they are repelling the people who aren't for them and creating a cult following with the people who actually do align with what they're talking about. I think a great example of this that could maybe even help it hit home. And I'll be transparent with you. I don't think I'm quite as polarizing as I need to be in my messaging. I'm continually sharing spicier and spicier takes. So I acknowledge that this is a process. And, I'm here to call out my target audience for being vague in their messaging, for being too scattered in their priorities, but I can absolutely find ways to be even more polarizing. So I just want you to know that I'm walking this path right alongside of you. And I know how hard it is, but I also believe that it's so important. You take a brand like Alex Hermosi's, one thing that he stands for is working excessively. And not everyone is going to resonate with that. And he doesn't apologize for it. He knows that like certain people are going to see that and be like, oh, that's not for me, right? And probably for most people, 99.9% of the population, the amount that Alex Hormozy is obsessed with work, the amount of hours that he spends working is not what almost everyone else is available for or wants to do. So that's always his caveat, around his results and around what he's achieved in his business is like, my results are not typical. I live a life that is not typical. But what that creates is an aspirational kind of persona for the people who do resonate with his brand to shoot for. It's like, here's the roadmap. He's laying it out and he's telling you about his routine, about what he does to grow his businesses. So the people who really resonate with his brand positioning are going to fully buy in and really appreciate him taking a stand and being like, this is exactly what it takes. Now, there's plenty of other business mentors, coaches, investors who would say, I work 20 hours a week and I'm incredibly prolific and I get a lot done. And I don't spend all my time working because that's not what I love to do. There's multiple ways to get at the same kind of result. So don't worry about like needing to have caveats in your messaging because your way works for you and your way is going to align with and attract your people who want your roadmap. And then we move on to voice. So what words do people use to describe your energy, your tone, your presence? It's continually reflected to me that I have a very warm energy, nurturing energy. I make people feel seen, I make them feel safe. And at the same time, I bring the strategy, I bring the structure, I bring the clarity. So this is something that I'm always leaning into in my content and in my messaging too. We've got some bold takes, we've got a lot of strategy and clarity, and we just want to have this warm, welcoming, nurturing kind of tone that everything is delivered with. So when you're most relaxed, how do you speak? What words or phrases do you use? Do you have any catchphrases, like bumper stickers that you would be known for? And what are you like when you're hanging out with people you feel most comfortable around? Really think about this, because this is the persona that I want to invite you to step into when you're filming content and when you're showing up for your audience. When you speak on camera, when you create content, when you show up for your audience like you do with your close friends, all of a sudden, this allows your audience to feel like a close friend, like they're part of your inner circle. Uh, awesome tip that I got back in the day when I was doing vlogs and growing my first business, which was through a YouTube channel, was to pretend like I was just talking to my mom, who I'm very close with and would call, once a week or so. When I was filming, it's like, just talk to the camera like you are talking to your mom and telling her about what you're up to. So that worked really well for me. And if this same tip hack works for you too, imagine a close friend. Imagine the person that you feel like you're able to be yourself around. And I want you to picture what it would be like to speak to them through your camera as you're filming. This really worked for me, and maybe that can help you too. So this is your brand identity, your vision, the mission that you are inviting your audience into, your values that allow you to polarize and stand for something that's going to repel the wrong people, and your voice. This is your unique, authentic it factor, what you sound like, the words that you use, the energy that it's all conveyed through. So that's part one. Part two is define your niche and messaging. And I pretty much already have this completely dialed in through a training that is from my signature program, Magnetic Messaging Mastery. So lucky you, you are about to get that training. And what this training allows you to do is figure out where your message lives in the market and what transformation, what tangible, specific transformation you are promising. This ensures that your message and your content is primed to sell. It's already going to resonate with what people are looking for in the marketplace. This niche and messaging mastery is a really in-depth training that's going to give you that specific and tangible messaging to position your brand and describe what you do. So we'll go here and just give it a quick rundown, but I've got another video that completely goes into it. We've got some journaling. Kind of just getting at your brand identity again in another angle. Part one is going to be your skills, your lived transformations, what you're really good at. Part two is going to be the 3 eternal markets. So mapping your business into health, wealth, or relationships. 3 eternal markets, 7 sub niches within each of those markets. So the relationship transformation is either going to be getting into a relationship, either a romantic partnership or a new friendship, or improving existing relationships. So improving romantic relationships, improving parent-child relationships, improving family relationships, friend relationships, anything and everything. Self-love is always a tempting sub niche to claim for your offering, for your brand here. But I want to be clear, self-love is not a standalone niche. This is actually the medicine behind all transformation. So people aren't really buying self-love as the outcome. Self-love is really what you're going to infuse into your methods, into your modalities as the medicine that's needed to get them to where they want to be in their other relationships. Health is either going to be improving physical well-being through, that could be strength, fitness, or looking aesthetically better. Weight loss kind of falls into the two categories. Looking aesthetically better gets into like the beauty market, so skincare products, things like that. Let's see, styling is an interesting one. So for my friend Marin, I was actually thinking about this today, like, what is your market? And looking aesthetically better is probably part of it. This one's kind of a tough one. I would say it's probably looking aesthetically better. So part of what we're doing here too with the messaging is selling people what they want and giving them what they need. So yeah, I'm wondering if there's a relationship piece there as well. It's going to be close. Looking aesthetically better or improving existing relationships for the work that you do, Marin, if you're watching this. But yeah, a key part of sales is selling them what they want, giving them what they need. So obviously, self-love, healing is going to be the medicine that happens in Marin's world, but people are not really going to come to her more often than not. They're not necessarily knowing that that's what they're needing. So they're not buying that in the messaging. That's what you get to give them once they're already inside your world. The 3 sub niches within wealth are going to be finding a career, finding a purpose, starting or growing a business, or building and managing wealth. Your brand can absolutely touch multiple markets and sub niches, but your offer, your signature offer, is going to lead with one for ultimate clarity and magnetism. Part 3 is figuring out who you can help, brainstorming all your possible markets and sub niches. So there might be multiple different markets or sub niches that you could serve people in based on your skills, based on your lived transformations. Take some time to brainstorm what the possibilities are here, and then choose the one that you'll go all in on. List the 3 biggest results your ideal clients want in this area. So they're looking for an identity shift, they're looking for habit or lifestyle change, and they're looking for tangible, measurable results. This is the hardest part, but also the most important part here. So from the example, start a biz sub niche, this would be the identity shift. This would be the habit or lifestyle change. And this would be the tangible, measurable result or outcome. Messaging that converts. Gosh, there's a lot in here. Yeah, you can read through that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward, focusing less on your transformation method and more on what your client already wants. So again, selling the outcome, selling the result, not the vehicle. Step 7 is to build an initial offer sketch using who you serve, what specific problems you solve, and how you solve those problems, and then why you. Why are you the ultimate person to offer this transformation? And then finally, because I love to make things dead simple, I have an AI prompt to make your transformation tangible and specific without selling your soul. So you can go ahead and copy paste this into ChatGPT. There are going to be some blanks that you get to fill in up here as well. So yeah, fill in the blanks, fill in timeline, offer, methodology, all of that, and then go ahead and paste this into ChatGPT. And you are going to get 5 to 7 examples of clear, honest, and specific result statements that you could use, even if you're brand new and you don't have studies or client results to reference yet. This is going to be super powerful for dialing in that clear messaging, brand positioning. This is an awesome training. And that takes us to Part 3, your brand pillars. Ooh, we are zipping right along. So you need pillars to anchor your brand and message, and these become the categories and topics that your audience starts to associate with you. Speak on one topic for long enough and you will become sought after. You'll be an expert and an authority in that space, because anytime somebody goes looking for any information about that topic, your content is going to be there. And because you will have this system for mastering content, doubling down on what works, your content will eventually rise to the top over time. So 3 brand pillars. Now, anyone who's learned brand pillars from me in the past, I am slightly changing up the way that I approach this. So the way that I've done this in the past is taken your offer, your transformation method, found the 3 milestones within that to get your client from point A to point B, and use these milestones as brand pillars. Now, oh, my throat's really dry. Now I have a slightly different take on it. Now, I believe you have one main pillar, and this is your sub niche. This is like related to your business, right? So as a personal brand, earning money online, this pillar relates to what you do as a personal brand, the core topic that you teach or sell around. This might look like entrepreneurship, hormone health, dating, skincare, healing arts, relationships, fitness, astrology, mindset, etc. This is like the core topic that you're known for. Pillar 2 would be a personal obsession, like something that you cannot get enough of, that you talk about for hours, that you'd read 100 books on when you're listening to podcasts or looking at content. Like, this is just what grabs your interest and grabs your attention. Probably not as often as your main pillar, but still it's up there. And then pillar 3 is going to be more about your lifestyle or your identity. So what part of your life do you naturally document, always make time for, or care deeply about? And to give you an example of what these pillars look like for me, and I'll show you exactly how we balance the content and the messaging around each of these different pillars. My main pillar is entrepreneurship. This is my one true obsession. Oh my gosh. I was just at my family, on the family farm, helping with harvest for the month of August. And I listened to so many freaking books and podcasts and YouTube masterclass deep dives, all related to entrepreneurship and business. Like, I just cannot get enough, right? So obviously, I love being a business mentor because I've been in business for 8 years now, been in online business, and it's just like, I still can't get enough, right? After 8 years, I just feel like there's still so much left for me to learn, so much left for me to find out and grow into. So obviously, that's my pillar 1. Pillar 2 is my second love, personal development, self-discovery. I consider yoga, meditation to fit in here, energetics, healing, mindset, astrology, human design, numerology, manifestation. So you're beginning to see a picture. Entrepreneurship is what I do. The personal development lens is my way of doing entrepreneurship and business. This is like my angle, right? And then relationships are a huge part of my life and identity. I also love learning about relationships and communication. And this was an area of wounding where I was in toxic relationships for the longest time. So healing that pattern that was coming up in partnership was really, really big for me. That's a part of my story. I love spending time with my partner, Paul, family, friends, and documenting time together. So that is the example of my 3 brand pillars. Hopefully this is getting some gears turning, some juices flowing for you as well, to reflect on what that looks like for you and your brand. Once we have the 3 pillars, we are going to write 5 to 7 topics under your pillars. So we're going to start with your main pillar. This is probably going to be the easiest to brainstorm topics around. And I want you to come up with 10 topics that fall under this umbrella of your business. So think about, what do I always get asked about? What problems have I solved that others still struggle with? What do I have strong opinions on? Now, the old way of coming up with content ideas, and this is still relevant a little bit, but I've moved more into a research-focused content ideation strategy. But what I used in the past, what I taught in the past, was come up with 30 problems that your ideal clients experience, write about them in their own words, but ultimately it's coming from your ideas. Now I would say do some research to find out what are the actual problems within your niche. So I want to show you an example of how you can come up with lots of topics for your pillars by doing a quick Google search. So if we're using entrepreneurship or online coaching, a little bit more specific as examples, I'm going to show you how you can quickly come up with a lot of different ideas here. So let's just go with entrepreneurship to start with. We've got a definition. We've got some Wikipedia. And this is a broad example to start with, but what I want you to find is this section where it's gonna show you all of the common questions that get asked about entrepreneurship. This is such an amazing resource for you because you can take your pillar, or you can take topics within your pillar and find out what kind of questions are the top questions that people have about this pillar or about this topic, right? So what best describes entrepreneurship? What are the 4 types of entrepreneurship? Small business, scalable startups, large companies, social entrepreneurship. Okay, these are maybe not the exact questions that I imagine my clients would be asking, but you can see more questions are populating the more I go in. So what are the qualities of an entrepreneur? This might be a really interesting one for me to talk about in content. Determination, self-discipline, self-awareness, curiosity, optimism, decision-making, flexibility. Yep, really, really good. What are 3 paths to entrepreneurship? You can start a business from scratch. You can buy an existing business and a resale opportunity, or choose the franchising business model. Okay, maybe interesting. We got some more questions. So it's just going to continue to populate, and you can go down the rabbit hole and get a lot of great questions and great ideas to flesh out that list of 30 questions that your ideal clients would have. And you could do it as you're going down topics as well. So, oh, that's a good one. What do I need to do if I want to be an entrepreneur? Yes, really good. Find a problem and solve it. Businesses solve problems. Absolutely. That's something I say all the time. Content marketing is another topic of mine. What is content marketing? How do I start content marketing? Know your audience, develop a strategy, research ideas. Yep, really good advice. Is it easy to learn? What education can I learn marketing by myself? Let's see. What is digital content? Multimedia. And now we have a bunch more. So this is really good. Which digital marketing is best for beginners? Yes. Really good. What is content marketing? Examples. Anyway, this is just an amazing tool. You can see I used it to look at Amy's niche. I thought this was really, really good. What is the highest rated skincare line? Maybe not as interesting. What is midlife skin? Is your skin having a midlife crisis? This could be good for people who are identifying with Amy's brand being midlife skincare and purpose. What is the 4-2-4 rule in skincare? I have no idea. Oh, fascinating. So you might learn things that you didn't even know about your own niche, which are fantastic content ideas. Because if you learn something that's really fascinating for you, write that down, stick it in the idea bank, add it to your content matrix, because more than likely other people have no idea as well. How to make older skin look younger, skin brightening. Okay. Yeah, this might be a good one, like how to make older skin look younger without laser treatment, without Botox. 3-second rule, how to take 10 years off your face. So like, these are the questions that people have. This is what people want to know. Okay. And then you'll have your solution. You'll have your answer to those questions. So you can do this for all 3 of your pillars. First, we're just going to start with topics, brainstorming topics, and then we'll go into the ideation phase. And now I'm going to teach you how to create your content matrix. This is going to blow your damn mind. I can't wait. Okay. So the content matrix is based on 4 really highly effective types of content, the GAP framework, and then the content matrix is how we're putting this all together. So I'm going to explain each of these different steps. 4 content types. So we've got the AAA plus C framework. And I want you to know that content creation is all about patterns and repetition, and it becomes easier when you see the patterns. So every reel that you make is going to be one of these 4 strategic types of content. It's going to be actionable. So this is like a how-to, step-by-step, just straight value. Teach me something is what this does. Aspirational content is the big vision, right? Tapping into your vision again, your success story, client success stories, success story from other people in your niche or industry. This is all about showing your audience what's possible. And then we have analytical, trends, insights, patterns. Why does this matter? Why consistency beats perfection in content marketing is a great example. And then we have the C, contrarian. So your hot take, busting myths, challenging the norm and what other people believe. So getting at your values again. And a framework that is really, really good, kind of just like adding on top. I didn't include this in the training because I think what we've got is really solid without it. But again, getting back to that 30 problems brainstorm, which you always have available to you, you're finding out the problems or the big questions that people have about your pillar, your niche, or topics within your niche. You have, what is the mainstream solution to these questions, which you'll find right there in the simple Google search as well. And then the contrarian viewpoint is going to be, what's your solution? What's your take to answer this question, to solve this problem? And when you can juxtapose, big word, when you can show the difference between your solution being easier, faster, better, more effective, more enjoyable, simpler, like in some way better than the mainstream solution, then you have a winning content formula right there. You're solving a problem in a way that is faster, easier, better, more complete, more effective than the mainstream way of going about it. People are going to want to pay attention. People are going to want to know more. They're going to want to watch, and they're going to want to follow you, because all of a sudden you've proven that you're someone who can get them to where they want to be in a more effective, faster, simpler, easier, better way. And the brain is always looking for shortcuts. The brain is always looking for what is the best way to achieve this goal that I have. So I thought I'd just add that in there. But these are the 4 content types, and that gets at the contrarian type. Then the GAP framework is going to give some balance to your content and to your consistency. So if you only teach You'll be helpful, but not necessarily magnetic, right? Because people won't really get to know you, and you won't be sharing your bold, polarizing opinions. If you only inspire, you might be motivating, you might be inspiring, but not trusted as an authority, right? So that's why we use the GAT framework. Growth content is what gets more people to know you. This is what is more likely to go viral and reach new audiences, get shared, stop the scroll, etc. That is the aspirational and contrarian posts. They feel bold, visionary, and polarizing. Authority, trust content is going to be actionable and analytical. The purpose is to show that you know your stuff and you are an expert in this area. Now, I know some of us are going to have a little imposter syndrome come up when I use the word expert, but what I want you to focus on is that you know something. And this is why I'm having you go through the skills and transformations exercise within that niche and messaging mastery training to fully own your skills and your transformations. So, like I said, I've been in online business for 8 years. I'm still like voraciously consuming more information, learning all the time. And gosh, I think it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, where the more you dive into a subject or an area of mastery, you just get to figure out all there is that you don't know. When you're new at something, it seems very simple because you have a surface level understanding. So you're like, yeah, that's easy. I know everything. When really you know nothing. And the more that you dive in, the more you realize there is to know, the more that you don't know. So the deeper and deeper you dive, and the more that you don't know, and you're still learning and continually learning. So it's like this inverse relationship where the more that you actually know, the less you feel like you do know. And so I want to speak on that for those of you who are feeling like imposters, like you're not any kind of expert. Like, why would anyone follow you for advice? And just fully own and reflect on what you have achieved for yourself. And anytime that you are positioning yourself as an expert, you are positioning yourself as an expert for a younger version of yourself who you are going to help get to where your present self is a lot faster because you already know how to do it. So for example, if you're speaking to a version of yourself from 3 years ago, and let's say that you have an offer, like a coaching program that takes place over the course of 8 weeks to 3 months, you're going to help someone collapse a 3-year journey into 3 months. Yeah, that's worth paying for. That's what makes you the expert. You don't have to know everything about your subject matter. You just have to know how to collapse time for someone who isn't as far down the path as you are. Okay, and that gets us to the P in the GAP framework, which is like content. So we're following the know, like, and trust framework within the GAP framework always, which tells me this is legit because this is what we need. Studies have shown time and time again, when people know you, like you, and trust you, they buy from you happily. And personal is going to be pillars 2 and 3. So behind the scenes, your lifestyle, some storytelling, showing the human behind the business, building connection, feeling relatable and authentic, like, yeah, I'd love to grab coffee with you. So this gets us to the content matrix. So what we're going to do is create 40 content ideas from your main pillar. So this is the big topic that you are going to be known for, and this directly connects to your niche and your offer. Again, entrepreneurship, skincare, relationships, fitness, etc., whatever this looks like for you. Then you're going to grab the 10 topics under your main pillar. And I just want to highlight here that your topics aren't going to be perfect the first time around. For instance, like one of my topics, I'm like, actually, there's a lot that goes in to one of these topics, and, storytelling might fit into content marketing as well. And like, maybe I could have a bunch more subtopics underneath high ticket sales, but we're just doing this messy, right? So you're coming up with the first 10 topics that hit your brain, and maybe you have subtopics, you have more that come to mind later, but it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to do this messy, we're going to do this raw, and we're going to get it done first and foremost. So grab the 10 topics. They don't have to be perfect. You don't need to be in love with them. You just need 10 topics, and we'll go from there. And then step 3, we are going to use AI to create the content matrix. Duh, because we love using AI. And this prompt, so what we're going to do is fill in the context that's needed for ChatGPT to create ideas that are relevant to your business, personality, and style. And then it's going to prompt you to answer questions to complete the matrix. So I have a massive freaking prompt in here. Don't get intimidated. A lot of this is just the example context. So all you need to do is copy, all you need to do is copy this entire prompt right here, all the way down, all the way to here, okay? This is the entire prompt that you're gonna plug in, and I'll explain how this works. So first, you're telling the AI what to do, ask you questions to create the context around you and your business to generate relevant and engaging content. Here is an example of context for inspiration. AI is not going to copy this story, just use it as a model for depth, tone, and structure. And then all of this is just an example of context that AI is going to help you create so that they can understand, how does your business work? How do you work? What is your personality? How do you make money? What does it all look like? What's your lifestyle, etc., etc., etc. And then once that is built out, well, first, AI is going to ask you the questions needed to build your AI context doc, and then use that context to create the content matrix. And the way that we do this is by creating a graph with content types, the AAAC framework on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, your 10 core topics. The goal is to fill in the table by generating 1 to 2 ideas per cell. So I walk away with a bank of at least 40 banger content ideas, and the formatting, present the final content matrix as a clear markdown table so I can easily copy, paste, and use it. Now, why don't I actually just test drive this real quick for you guys? I've already done this, but let me just see how the prompt goes. So we're pasting it in. We've got everything in there. Cool. Okay, perfect. So these are the questions that you're going to get to answer. And it's looking like a lot of questions, but that's great. It's going to be in depth. Now, what I recommend doing to answer these questions, instead of spending 20 minutes typing all of this out, just use the dictate mode down here. Hit dictate and speak all of this. Like literally just go down the line. What's your business name? How do you usually introduce yourself and your work to someone new? What do you believe at the core about business or your philosophy? What do people say you're known for? And, you know, if nothing comes to mind, just say nothing comes to mind for number 3 or whatever. Yeah, I would definitely recommend using this dictate option to answer the questions. And then perfect, it will spit out the content matrix from there. Amazing. Okay. And I'll show you what the content matrix looks like when it's done. Here's my version. So again, on the top, we have the different types, the AAAC framework. We have the actionable content, aspirational, analytical, and contrarian. And then down the side, we have different topics: content marketing, high ticket sales, personal branding, copywriting, online coaching, productivity, etc. And in here is where it gets good. So how to batch create 30 reels in 1 week without burning out. How posting daily reels took my clients from invisible to fully booked. Why volume beats perfection in content. Again, there's a lot here, but you're going to be way more interested in what your content matrix actually looks like. So instead of going over mine, I'm going to give you time to dive in and create yours. When we're putting all of this into practice, so once you have your content matrix generated, you are going to copy paste it straight from ChatGPT back into Notion onto the content matrix page. So that page is going to be right here for you, where your matrix can live and you can reference it often. And then what you're going to do is populate your content calendar with these ideas. So you should have 40 ideas or more. If you have 10 topics and you're plugging them into the 4 different content types, you'll have 40 banger content ideas. Now, you can use all of these ideas. You can double up multiple per day. I recommend starting with just 30, just plugging them in for October into, let's see, into the content calendar. So let me show you what this would look like. How I would do this, I would grab, how do I want to do that? Move tab to new window. Yep, I would open up your content matrix in a different window. And then I would have your content calendar in one window, and I would just put them side by side. So I would do this like that. And then when you are plugging things into this content calendar, this is a freaking gold mine. Let me just show you. But here's how it's going to work. You'll hit this little new button. Okay. And then we're doing a short form video. That's the default. What's the pillar? You get to plug in your own pillars here. So we're going to say entrepreneurship. What type of post? Well, we want to do aspirational. Yeah, is that what I want to do for an example? Yes, we're going to do a growth post. That's going to be aspirational. Status is, this is just an idea. The aim of the post is motivation, if it's aspirational. This would be where you would link to the post once it's already created, so that this becomes your reference point for all of your past content, so that you can go back and analyze and see, okay, what was working, what didn't. Post date, we are going to schedule this for October 1st. So in this Reels challenge, we are planning a month of content in advance, but I want you to give yourself the grace to spend September planning, filming, editing, and scheduling all of your content to get in this flow, so that when October comes, you're ready. You've got all 30 days scheduled out. So that's what we're going to do, is say October. And then performance would be where you would come and, where you would come and rate the performance of how this post did after the fact. And then here, you'll just put your video idea. Growth post, inspiration. So I'm going to take this idea, copy it, how my rebrand helped me go from 1K months to consistent 5K months. And I might edit this down a little bit. I would say help me go from inconsistent income, might be a little bit more accurate. But anyway, that's the video idea. And that's where that would go in the post, in the content calendar. Now, I have a lot of hooks, resources within this planning stage here. So some viral hooks, some authority hooks for coaches, consultants, experts. You can use these for inspiration. I've got an entire table of hooks and examples here too, but I'm also going to show you how to research your own. So don't get caught up and overwhelmed by any of that. We have a writing framework for when it comes to writing the caption or writing the script for this post. We've got a ChatGPT prompt to give you more hooks that you could use for this video. We have a checklist for creating a really effective short form video. We'll get into all of this, don't worry, in the editing stages mostly. Some music area. You could add some favorite songs in here that you wanted to use. Optional, you can also just save trending audio on Instagram. This is where you would put your script, your caption, your bank of hashtags that you want to use. Anyway, this is where we're going to do all of the planning and scripting, creating for the posts as well. But what we have in here is the idea, and that's all we need right now. We've given it a pillar. We've assigned it a gap type, a status, an aim, and a date, so that when we close out of this and we come to look at our calendar, we can see the post in here. And actually, you would change the name. So this could be Reel, my rebrand as the topic. So how my rebrand helped me go. Yep, just giving it a little bit of a shorter title there so you can see it at a glance. The cool thing about this content calendar is that you can have multiple views as well. So you can just list out all of the content here anytime that you have a new idea that you want to add. And we've got, these 40 ideas to plug in here. So you're going to spend some time getting these ideas into your content calendar. So you'll just hit new to do that. But anytime you do add a new one here, it's going to be in this list. It won't be on the calendar until you give it a date. So we could come over here and we could say October 2nd. Perfect. Come to the calendar view and you can see it here on the 2nd. We have another view, which is really cool, which is the status view. So remember how we tagged this one? The status was an idea. Idea, created, edited, posted. So things will move to different categories whenever we switch them. So I just switched it to created. Oops. And now it's under created. So you would switch it here once you've filmed it. You would switch it here once you've edited it. And then you would put it here once it was posted. And obviously the posted category is going to get quite long as we continue to go through this. I did want to show you one other thing, and that was under the list view where you can see the pillars, because you'll want to edit the pillars to your brand pillars. And you can easily come in here and edit pillars by going to edit property, coming over here, hitting that arrow, and then I could change this to fitness, for example. I could change the color to pink if I wanted, but entrepreneurship. I always forget how to spell that. Is mine. So that's what we're sticking with. Perfect. Yep. So you can change your properties, or you can edit the property to change your pillars, the gap type, the aim of the post, performance, all of that. You'll want to stay the same, but you can edit the pillars to reflect your brand pillars. And this is how you will fill out your content calendar and get everything in here for October. Now, we have options for this challenge. So you can go all out and create 30 reels during the month of September to go out on autopilot in October, or you can scale back. You could say, I just want to do 3 reels a week and do that would equate to 15 essentially. You could do 4 reels a week, do 20 or 5 reels a week. That would be 20. So yeah, 3, 5, or 7. And we're calling that 15, 20, or 30 for the month. So that is your option. I'm going all in for 30 reels across the month, and I highly encourage you to as well. And again, do it messy, do it poorly, just get it done and come back and optimize next time. Okay, that was basically it, what I wanted to share with you. There might be one other thing in here. Oh, the research. Yes, we do need to go into research. So this is the content matrix. I've shown you how to create it, how to put it into the content calendar. And now I'm going to go over researching your own viral hooks and formats. Before you start filming, you need to know what's already working for your customers and clients. This part is where your authenticity meets strategy that's already working in the marketplace. So you are going to go ahead and build your hook bank swipe file. Your mission is to build a vault of proven hooks in your topics. Now, I stuck a ton of hooks into the little cards for your content in the calendar because I just couldn't help it. But I also want you to have this skill, have the knowledge of how to go and find your own hooks through research. So that's what we're going to walk through really quickly here. Use the 10 topics from your main pillar that we already used to generate your content matrix. Go to the Instagram Explore page. This works best on mobile. I can give you a little demonstration here on desktop, but go to the Explore page on Instagram on your phone. That's the search page. You're going to search for each one of your topics individually, and you're going to choose the filter that only shows you the reels related to those topics. The next step is very, very simple. You are going to go through and save 5+ reels per topic that have over 1 million views and resonate with your style. So in other words, you could actually see yourself making a reel like this, even if it's aspirational, out of your comfort zone, not something that you're really ready to try making. It's something that you'd want to make a reel like that. There's going to be certain styles that you're like, no, I don't like this type of format. I don't want to make content like this. So don't save those ones, even if they're performing really well, because what I want is for you to find the viral hooks and content formats that you like. Okay, so the hooks that are performing with the content formats that you like to consume and would like to make. And what you'll end up with, if you're saving 5 reels per topic, is 50+ reel formats and proven hooks. And I want you to save each one of these. So hit save on each of those posts and they'll go into your saved folder on Instagram. And then go through, and you can do this as you're saving them and doing research. Add the column in your content matrix and add links to your saved reels next to each topic. So from my example, content matrix, I haven't added in the hooks yet, but I have a column here where I could just easily drop those links and link back to those videos that have the viral hooks that relate to content marketing, high ticket sales, personal branding, right? And those are going to give me some great hooks to use. They're going to give me a written hook, which is going to be the text on the screen of the video. Some of them are going to give me a spoken hook, the actual words that are said in a talking reel or a voiceover, and the visual hook. So what is happening within the first 3 seconds on film that actually keeps my attention and keeps me engaged, stops the scroll, right? So those are the things that we're going to be paying attention to and learning how to incorporate into our own filming flow, into our own creation process. And this is all I have for you for week 1. So week 1 is all about planning and research, building a strong foundation, learning how to use the content calendar, creating the content matrix. So here is the summary of action items. There's quite a bit. There's really one thing for you to do every single day this week. So day 1, find your vision, values, and voice. Clarify this. Day 2, get your tangible brand positioning statement. That is going to come from the niche and messaging mastery training. Then find your 3 authentic content pillars that you can riff on day in and day out. These are like your obsession, your interests, the things that you're always watching videos and reading books on anyways. come up with 10 content topics under your main pillar. That's what we're going to be focusing on this month. But also, find some topics underneath your other pillars too that you could mix in whenever you want. Then you are going to get those 40 content ideas and angles going using the AAAC framework. And finally, you are going to create your own hook swipe vault of 50 plus viral reels in your main pillar. I can give you a little bit of a demonstration of what this looks like on Instagram. So going into search, here are some of my searches as I was playing around with this, finding out which topics had a lot of, views and content around. So you can't see views on the desktop, which is why I really recommend doing it in the app itself. But based on the number of likes, like this one, pretty high likelihood that it had over 1 million views. There's 132,000 likes on here, but it's not necessarily related to my niche. So I'm going to skip on that one. What would be another one? This one looks interesting. Oh yeah, I saw that one. Not necessarily niche related either. So anyway, this is what you're going to do. You're just going to come through and check. Do they have over 1 million views? Are they related to my niche? The other super cool research thing that I didn't include in the training specifically, because I know I'm already giving you a lot, but I do want to just share with you, is this cool browser extension called Sort Feed. So I have it installed over here. And what this does is it allows you to sort the posts on anyone's feed. So obviously I just went over to Alex Hormozi's page and I could sort the latest 25 items. This is the free version. So with the paid version, you can do all time, right? But with the free version, the latest 25 items by likes. So I'll sort them by likes. And it's going through and it's sorting the top posts by likes. And then you can actually export it as Excel, CSV, which is super cool. So I already did that once to test it. But yeah, you can actually export all of the top viewed posts of the last 25. So, how I would recommend using this is finding a top creator in your industry and sorting some of their top posts to find out what hooks do they use, what content formats are performing really, really well for them. And then you could grab this browser extension, or you could just look through their latest 10 or 15 posts and just see what they're up to and copy those hooks as well. Let's see, I can go back and show you how to, if I just wanted to, I'll probably delete this later, but just to show you, you can import any CSV into Notion by hitting the slant, typing import CSV, choose file. Here it is. And this has all of the links to the posts, essentially. It's going to invite me to map the headers. So do I want to have that as a select or just text? Text is fine. It's all one profile. And then I could import the CSV. And it's going to import that for me. And now here it is on its own page. And here are all of the links to the posts. So if you wanted to save them, then this is a great way to go ahead and do that. I don't actually want to save that right now, so I'm just going to delete it. But you know that that option is available to you. So the preview for next week, we'll take all of these ideas and these viral hooks, and we're going to start turning them into scripts, storyboards, and shots for you to film. So we'll create a little bit of a filming workflow. So next week, you are going to do all of your filming for all 30 of these posts for October. That's going to equate to 6 per day if you're doing 5 days a week or getting them all in on one day. So don't worry, I'm going to have some strategies. I'm going to have some trainings. I'm going to teach you how to do this in a way that's really, really efficient. And yeah, we're not all going to do talking reels either. Like I said, there'll be different formats to play with. One of them is really, really simple. It's just B-roll with trending audio and a written hook. This is like, if you can master this content format and have it perform really, really well for you, I feel like you've won the game because it's so easy to create B-roll reels without any talking, or you have the option to do like a voiceover in the back if you have a longer clip or series of clips to tell a story around. But yeah, if you're just doing a 7-second video with some trending audio and some written text, it's going to happen so fast. This is the format that I started with back in March, April, May, when I went all in on reels and created hundreds of reels in just a couple months. So we'll start with that, but we will do some talking reels, some scripting, some storyboarding as well. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. I know you're excited. Start here with the foundation. The foundation is going to be everything. And let me know if you have questions as we go. I encourage you to ask questions in the school community, post your wins, share how you're going as you're going through the training, as you're building out your content calendar, as you're coming up with your pillars, building your content matrix. Share that with us. Keep us posted so that we can hype you up and cheer you on. And as always, I am here for you. If you have any questions, let me know in school. And I will see you in next week's training. Bye.